Never let a mechanic do these 10 things to your Hyundai. A national survey of up to 1,000 car owners found that half of them had been sold a repair they didn't actually need. 35% said they were overcharged for parts or labor they never agreed to. 13% were quoted one price and charged a different, higher one once the work was already done. 11% found out later that a shop had quietly installed used or lower quality parts while billing them for new ones. Now, you and I know this is more than a fringe problem happening to a handful of unlucky people. We've all been there, and honestly, it's time you start arming yourself with the right information. So, what I've got for you here are 10 specific things to never let a mechanic do to your Hyundai. I'm a mechanic, 15 plus years, hands in engine bays the entire time, and I'm telling you directly, don't even let me do half of what's on this list to your car without asking hard questions first. The stakes here aren't abstract. We're talking hundreds of dollars per visit, sometimes thousands over the life of a car, extracted from owners who simply didn't know which question to ask in the moment. 10 specific things, real dollar figures, real red flags, and exactly what to say when you hear them. Let's get into it. Number 1. A transmission flush sold as mandatory when your manual never said that word. This is the single most common upsell I hear about from Hyundai owners specifically, and it happens almost word for word the same way every single time. A service advisor tells you your transmission needs a flush, quotes somewhere between $179 and $250, and implies that skipping it risks your warranty or your transmission's lifespan. Here's what your owner's manual actually says. Most Hyundai transmissions call for a drain and fill at specified intervals, not a flush, and those are two genuinely different services. A drain and fill replaces roughly half the fluid through the pan. A flush uses a machine to push fluid through the entire system, including the cooler lines, and costs meaningfully more because of it. One Palisade owner told me about his exact $550 quote at a routine 30,000 mile visit. Brake fluid flush, throttle body cleaning, filters, and a fuel injection service bundled together, with the advisor implying his 10-year warranty was at risk if he declined. He eventually had to call me to ask about the fuel induction cleaning specifically. They told him they'd never even heard of it as a standard service. Real repair pricing data backs this up too. An independent Hyundai transmission fluid change typically runs $165 to $195 total, parts and labor combined, while dealer flush quotes in the $250 to $550 range for the same general service are common enough to have their own recurring thread on nearly every Hyundai owner forum. Untratunde demandasem. If a shop tells you a flush is mandatory, ask them to show you the exact page in your DAF owner's manual that says so. On most Hyundai models, that page simply doesn't exist. Then, the next one follows an almost identical script, just aimed at a completely different system under your hood. Number 2. Fuel injection cleaning. This one has become such a well-known pattern among Hyundai owners that it's developed its own running joke on the forums. Someone runs a dealer's exact quote through what they call a dealer translator, and a 3-part fuel injection cleaning service for carbon buildup comes back out the other side as a 3-part wallet cleaning service. Funny, right? One owner was quoted $175 for exactly this, on a car running completely fine, with the advisor unable to explain how they'd actually confirmed carbon buildup existed in the first place, rather than just assuming it based on mileage alone. Here's the honest version of this service. It is not listed as routine maintenance in any Hyundai owner's manual. It can be a legitimate fix if you're already experiencing a real symptom. Rough idle, hesitation, a ping or knock under load, but it should be diagnosed first, not sold preemptively off a mileage number alone. If your car runs fine and nobody's shown you an actual diagnostic reason for concern, a $9 bottle of Tacron or Seafoam run through a tank of gas addresses mild buildup for a fraction of the cost. And it's worth trying that route before paying for a machine-assisted service you haven't confirmed you actually need. One Hyundai owner I know described the exact moment this clicked for him. A service advisor told him carbon buildup was likely present somewhere, valves maybe, piston tops maybe, without being able to say specifically where or how they knew. That level of vagueness on a $175 quote is itself the red flag, independent of whether carbon buildup happens to be real or not. This is basically a guess dressed up as a diagnosis. The next one is scarier specifically because it plays on fear rather than mileage. And it works precisely because most owners don't know how to check it themselves. But before that, wouldn't you like to have all the secrets to protecting your Hyundai? Well, if you want to unlock everything your Hyundai is capable of, check out my Hyundai ebook. It's pretty much a longevity blueprint built around real-world oil and transmission maintenance schedules, cooling system care, turbocharger protection habits, GDI carbon buildup prevention, and engine-specific guidance. The exact system I use to help owners get their Hyundai to 500,000 miles. The link is in the description below. Number 3. Your entire brake system needs replacing, with no symptoms and no explanation. If a shop tells you your entire brake system needs replacing out of nowhere, and you haven't noticed a single symptom, no grinding, no pulling, no soft pedal, no warning light, that's one of the clearest red flags in this entire industry. Brakes don't just wear out of the blues, they wear gradually and predictably. A shop that jumps straight to the whole system without walking you through pad thickness measurements, rotor condition, or an actual inspection you can see for yourself is often building urgency rather than diagnosing a real problem. Ask specifically to see the measurements. Pad thickness is measured in millimeters, and any legitimate shop can show you exactly where your pads currently sit against the replacement threshold. If they can't produce a number, or they get vague and repeat, "It just needs to be done," that's your answer to get out of there. A full brake job across all 4 corners on a Hyundai runs a wide range depending on parts quality. But you should never be agreeing to that range without seeing the actual wear first. I've had customers come in for a second opinion after being told their entire brake system was failing, only to find pads with genuine life remaining and rotors well within spec, and the only thing actually wearing thin was their trust in mechanics. The brake is a part that elicits a lot of caution and fear, and these mechanics use this fear as a sales tool. That's all. Next up is the most difficult one on this list to catch. Number 4. Genuine parts build, used or aftermarket parts installed. Remember the 11% of surveyed owners from earlier that reported discovering, after the fact, that a shop had billed them for new parts while actually installing used or lower quality replacements. This is for them. This is the hardest one on this list to catch in the moment, because it happens entirely out of sight, usually while your car is up on a lift in a back bay you never see. The defense is straightforward, but almost nobody actually uses it. Ask to see the old part after any repair, and separately ask to see the new parts box or packaging before it goes on the car. Works every single time. A shop with nothing to hide will show you both without hesitation. A shop that gets cagey, tells you it's already been disposed of, or can't produce the packaging for a part you just paid full retail price for, is a shop where you should start asking harder questions about everything else on your invoice too, not just this one-line item. Well, this is a switch that happens entirely out of view. The next one happens right in front of you, on paper, and it's the one most owners glance past without ever actually reading. Number 5. A vague, unitemized estimate you're asked to sign before any real explanation. System service, adjusted components, general maintenance package. These phrases show up on invoices specifically because they're vague enough to justify almost any charge after the fact, and specific enough to look official at a glance. A legitimate estimate breaks down parts and labor as separate, itemized line items, with each one tied to an actual identifiable service. If a shop hands you a single lump sum with language this soft and vague, that's not an estimate. That's a blank check with a dollar amount already filled in. Don't sign the blank check. Before you sign anything, ask for the breakdown by part and by labor hour specifically. If the final bill comes in more than roughly 10% above what you were quoted, without a clear, itemized explanation of what changed and why, that's a legitimate reason to push back before paying, not after you've already driven off the lot. Yeah, you hate paperwork. Well, guess what? So do I. But don't let your laziness come between you and keeping some extra dollars where they belong, in your wallet. The number 6 thing happens the moment repairs are already underway, and it's designed specifically to catch you off guard while you're not in a position to easily say no. I'm talking about number 6. New problems discovered mid-repair with pressure to approve immediately. I know all about this one. You drop your car off for one specific job, and partway through, you get a call. They found something else, and it needs to be handled right now, today, while the car is already apart. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been in enough engine bays to know that this genuinely does happen legitimately sometimes. A mechanic working inside a system occasionally does find a real, related problem nobody could see beforehand. But it's also one of the most reliable pressure tactics in the industry precisely because your car is already disassembled. You're not physically there to look at anything yourself. And saying no feels like it might leave your car in a worse state than when you dropped it off. This, however, doesn't mean you should just agree to whatever they say. So, what you have to do is ask directly whether the newly discovered issue is actually related to the original repair, or whether it's a completely separate item being bundled in while you're a captive audience. Then, ask if it's safe to drive the car as is, and address the new item at a second appointment, on your own timeline, possibly after getting a second opinion. A shop that respects that request will simply answer it. A shop that escalates the urgency the moment you ask for time is telling you something important about how that specific recommendation was actually generated. This tactic works specifically because of timing. You're emotionally invested in getting your car back, mentally already past the decision-making phase, and suddenly being asked to make a second, unplanned financial decision on the spot with limited information and zero ability to independently verify anything. All I'm going to say is never give in to this pressure. You can always get more information elsewhere. Try that, and look out for how cagey the mechanic gets with certain additional information. Number 7. Repairs described using terms that simply don't exist. I know, it's funny. This sounds almost too obvious to be a real scam, and yet it's documented often enough to be worth naming directly. You hear stuff like blinker fluid and muffler, bearings, whatever those are. Terms invented specifically to sound plausible to someone who doesn't know cars, counting on the assumption that admitting you don't recognize a part is more embarrassing than just agreeing to pay for it. If a term sounds vaguely mechanical, but you've genuinely never heard it before in years of oil changes and basic maintenance conversations, that's worth a 5-second phone search before you nod along and approve anything. This tactic specifically preys on the fear of looking uninformed in front of someone who clearly knows more about cars than you do. Flip that instinct around entirely, asking, "What does that part actually do? And where is it located on my specific engine?" is a completely reasonable question that any honest technician will answer clearly and specifically. Hesitation, or a vague non-answer to that exact question, tells you everything you need to know. Get out of there immediately. The next one isn't as funny as this was. The number 8 thing is real, legitimate, genuinely necessary maintenance, just priced at nearly double what it should cost for the exact same fluid and the exact same result. Number 8. A fluid flush at double the price of a perfectly adequate drain and fill. This one deserves its own separate mention from the transmission-specific version above, because it applies broadly across coolant, brake fluid, and power steering fluid too, and the pricing pattern repeats almost identically every time. As I explained earlier, a drain and fill uses roughly half the fluid volume a full flush requires and takes meaningfully less labor time, which means it should cost roughly half as much, and on a healthy system with clean fluid, it accomplishes essentially the same practical result. A flush becomes genuinely worth the premium, specifically when your fluid is already visibly dark, smells burnt, or contains visible sediment, not as a blanket default applied to every vehicle regardless of condition. So, ask to see the actual fluid before agreeing to the more expensive option. If it's still relatively clear or close to its original color, a drain and fill is a completely legitimate, meaningfully cheaper choice that most independent Hyundai mechanics will openly recommend over a flush precisely because it's the more honest answer for a fluid that isn't actually contaminated yet. Real repair cost data backs up just how wide this gap gets in practice. A Hyundai transmission fluid change through an independent shop commonly lands between $165 and $195, while dealer flush pricing for the same general service has been documented anywhere from $250 up to $550 once it gets bundled with other add-ons in the same visit. And the markup is similar for every other fluid in your Hyundai. Remember this, the next one is about something small enough that most owners never think to question the price at all, right up until they see what the part actually costs. Number 9. A DIY simple service marked up as specialized labor. Headlight restoration, cabin filter swaps, and wiper blade replacement are 3 of the most commonly inflated services in the entire industry, specifically because they sound technical enough that most owners never question the labor charge attached to them. A headlight restoration kit costs roughly $10 at any parts store and takes about 20 minutes to apply yourself. Some shops charge over $100 for the identical result, a cabin air filter swap, a job that takes under a minute with 0 tools on most Hyundai models. Sometimes gets bundled into a service package at a price that assumes you have no idea how simple the actual task is. None of this means every shop offering these services is dishonest. I get that convenience has real value, and plenty of owners would rather pay a fair labor charge than do it themselves. The issue is specifically when the price assumes total ignorance of how simple the underlying task actually is. Before agreeing to any of these 3 specifically, ask what the labor charge covers beyond the part itself. And don't be afraid to say you'll handle it yourself if the number feels disconnected from the 5 minutes of actual work involved. A wiper blade swap in particular takes under 30 seconds per blade on most Hyundai models with a simple release tab and no tools whatsoever, which makes any labor charge attached to it worth questioning directly before you agree to it. And with that, we've reached the 10th and final one. And this isn't even about a specific service at all. It's about a decision that happens before any of the other 9 ever get the chance to. Number 10. Signing off on any major repair without a second opinion. This is the one I want every single person watching to actually internalize, because it's the cheapest insurance against every single item covered above. For any repair quoted above a few $100s, a transmission concern, a major brake job, anything described as urgent and expensive in the same conversation, call a second shop, describe the exact same symptoms, and see what they say without mentioning the first quote at all. A legitimate, necessary repair will get roughly the same diagnosis from an honest second shop. A manufactured or exaggerated one very often won't. Hint: it costs you 1 phone call and maybe a small diagnostic fee at the second shop, against a genuine chance of catching a repair you never actually needed before you've already paid for it. 10 things, and every single one of them relies on the same underlying dynamic: you not knowing enough to ask the right question in the moment. None of this requires confrontation or assuming bad faith from every single service advisor you meet. In fact, plenty of them are genuinely trying to help, and plenty of the maintenance they recommend is completely legitimate. It just requires having the information and the habits in place before the pressure shows up, rather than trying to build them in the moment while someone across the counter is telling you the car isn't safe to drive home without an immediate yes. I said it at the start, and I mean it. Don't even let me do half of this without asking first. The good mechanics in this industry want you to ask these questions because it's exactly how you tell the difference between us and the shops that are counting on you never asking at all. Print this list out, keep it in your glove box, and pull it out the next time a service advisor starts a sentence with, "while we had it apart." I'll see you in the next one.